Are we ready to do this? Okay, this is my best friend, Laurel. Laurel, what do you want the people to know about me?
No.
What do you want to tell the people about me?
You turned this on, I'm like instantly nervous.
You're instantly like, I don't want to do this. Tell the people what they need to know about me. Tell them the truth.
You're the best, and I have loved you for over 10 years.
So we're doing a readathon, and I'm very excited.
We have planned it with the precision of something that's maybe not just a Saturday activity.
Oh yeah, no, we're taking this incredibly seriously. We have thought through pretty much everything. We have staged the place. We know what rooms we're gonna be at what times.
Yes.
And we also just got back from Indigo. We went shopping.
Because we needed more books.
We needed more books because I did show up to this readathon with only one book.
Which is pretty sneaky of you.
Yeah, so it was an accident. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to carry all the books. You know what I mean? I was like, I didn't want to bring a bunch of books to your house. And so I was like, come what may.
Yeah, no,
right?
for sure.
If we need to go to a bookstore, we need to go to a bookstore.
And I don't have any books here.
No books.
You could have read.
You are famously not a reader.
Right. Yes. And I didn't already pick out 3 books.
No.
On Thursday to read for this.
Yeah, so we're not ready. We will do a little mini haul. We're going to start with a little mini haul. We'll talk a little bit about the books that we plan to read, and then we'll get to reading. Okay, so first and foremost, we have reading socks.
Yeah, because we needed to be twins.
Yeah, so we have reading socks that we will eventually put on. It's probably a little warm right now.
So by the fire tonight will be better.
I'm so excited. And then because I think I've mentioned this. Okay, yeah.
I have a dog who is sock obsessed.
Yeah, that's true. It was my fault. I put it down in your level, so it made it seem like you could have it. And I think I've mentioned this on my channel before, but if you don't know, every single year, my very best friend Laurel and I always buy each other mugs. And we try to buy something that like kind of like reminds us of whatever happened the previous year. I think it's a fun little thing that we do. And so this year we decided that since we were together, and this was kind of my sneaky plan to be like, oh, we should go to Indigo and get mugs. Not books, but mugs. And we bought mugs. So we have matching mugs.
To go with our matching socks.
To go with our matching socks. Because we aren't matching enough. We don't have enough to link us together. So we got mugs.
And we got reading ones for our readathon.
Yes, they are books and they're colorful and there's all different kinds of genres because I feel like we actually both read a lot of different types of genres. As you will see with what we were planning to read. We also got matching bookmarks.
We're leaning in.
I bought matching bookmarks for us because it needed to happen. Forget about this bookmark, but you know, it's important. Let's talk about the first book that we plan to read together.
Okay.
So the very first book, I'm really excited that we're doing this actually because like, I mean, I wasn't before, now I'm really excited.
Great.
But
thumbs up.
We decided that we should read the same book. Like we should start the readathon reading the same book, which I think is going to be such an interesting experience because we've read books together.
Yes.
Like
War and Peace?
Yeah, we read War and Peace, All Quiet on the Western Front.
We tried Les Mis, but...
Yeah, we DNF'd Les Mis hardcore.
That is one of 5 books I haven't finished.
You're welcome. It was my influence.
I have such difficulty not finishing a book.
Yeah. But I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Really tough.
It was good. We both agreed that we liked the writing.
The writing was beautiful. I just felt like that I didn't... I feel like every single story had such a background story.
Yeah.
Instead of just like a little flashback to be like, this is why he's doing this. It was like, let me tell you his previous 20 years.
Yes.
So that you really understand why he is allowing for him to get away with the cutlery.
Exactly. And then you're like, okay, I'll never see that man again. So can we move on? And like we
were going to hear her playing in the background.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll just be like dog playing. This is a book we're going to read together, and I feel like it's the perfect vibe.
Why did you choose this one?
So I've heard a lot of people... I feel like this book is like kind of making its way around Bookstagram and BookTube. I feel like I've seen a couple people read this, namely Allison Pages read it a while ago. And then someone else just posted about it, but I can't remember who. But I just think that it kind of fits both of us perfectly, where it's like small town mystery. I guess there's a little bit of, I mean, it follows a family of witches. It's like a cozy B&B. So
I also loved that it was New England.
Exactly. and it's kind of fall vibes.
Yep.
So I'm excited for it, and it's like short and sweet, and I think it's just enough of like a light read to get started, right? Like it's something that we can read, and it won't be like, wow, this is a chore.
No, I also feel like it's going to be fun that our first book, it's the same book.
Exactly.
So we can chat about it.
Yeah, because that might be the biggest challenge with this challenge is that we chat. We have to set timers to stop a conversation sometimes, right? Like it's,
Yeah.
We always have to give a buffer of an hour because we just won't stop.
I mean, we wanted to start this readathon 90 minutes ago.
We did, and we're a little late,
Here we are.
but we're here. But I have no idea what I'm gonna read. Like I don't know where I'm gonna start.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you know what one you're gonna start with?
No, I think so. I'm gonna start
After
with.
this?
I'm gonna start all of these books. I literally just picked up off of the shelf. I didn't know anything about any of them except for this one. So I'll start talking about this one first. This is called Between Dragons and Their Wrath by Devin Madsen. I have had this on my want to read shelf for a while. It is an epic fantasy that features dragons and a forbidden romance, and I think there might be a queer romance in it. I feel like diving into longer stories is how I feel this time of year. So that being said, that's why I chose what I chose. I'll talk about this one next because I can't decide which one I'll read next. We'll see. But this one, I literally walked into the store, found, and was like, yup. So I knew nothing about this.
I don't even think you read the back cover.
I kind of did. But
Did you?
The thing is that this is a fun fact about me that I'm revealing to the internet and you and anyone for the first time. This is the first time I've ever vocalized this. I never really read the back.
No.
I read like the first, I literally read the key, we used to call this the key selling point or like the tagline. I used to work in book publishing and I was in sales and then I was in marketing. So that's why I say we used to say this. I'm really good at this. Do you see how the veneer is shaped? Because you see the final videos.
I know, and I watch them right here on my TV, which is behind the camera right now.
And she live texts me while she does it.
Me too.
So I read the first little bit and I was like, oh, like the vibes. So this sounds good. But this is a Viking. See? This is a Viking-inspired romance fantasy. So that's all I needed to know. I was like, oh, it's probably wintry.
I really felt like you read the back of this and it says, let them think us lambs when truly we are wolves. And I feel like I just felt like you read the back of this and you were like,
yeah, let's do that. Let them think that. Yeah, no, that's so sweet. And honestly, frankly, if you have a crow on the cover, like I'll buy
also,
it.
I feel like the red.
Yes. This is like,
that's like you.
This is literally like a beacon.
This is like a replica of an actual jacket or coat that you
100%.
like a few years ago.
Saying I wanted to, I wish I could be a cape person, but
yeah.
I don't think I could be.
Yeah.
So really excited for this. This might be the one that I pick up after just because I like it. It also has like a really high rating on Goodreads. Mm-hmm. Like it's like got like 4 out of 5 stars and I think there's like 10,000 ratings, which is pretty good. And then this one, which is also kind of like a beacon, which is like, this was very clearly World War I. We found this in the discount section. I have no idea if it's going to be good.
Read the thing.
The blurb on the front, the endorsement is by someone named Jeffrey Archer, who I think is an author. The endorsement says, the doctor hits the spot. Which is not really like a selling. Like I don't know what that means because this book is set in World War I in a field hospital. And it's a romance between a soldier and a nurse.
You're like, this sounds good.
And apparently the doctor hits the spot. Wait, this is hitting me where I'm like, it is a nurse and I think a soldier. So who's the doctor? Maybe he's a doctor.
Figure. He's a key figure.
So I have mid expectations, but I think it'll be just cozy enough for me to like maybe, or like easy enough to read for me to finish off the readathon with this. I think that's probably the goal here is like, at that point I I won't be up for epic fantasy and like needing to really
You
focus.
want just like comfort easy.
Something I can maybe make fun of. So those are my books. That's what I'm planning to do. I don't think I'm gonna get through all of them, but we'll be lucky, I think, if we get through 2. But we'll see. Last time I did this, I got through a lot. So.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I have never done this before.
Yes. I'm very excited for Laurel to experience the pain and agony of reading. Oh!
Of reading.
Yeah, because she doesn't read. You don't have any books. We've established
Do
it.
that.
The one thing I will say is that we are sleeping. We're gonna sleep. Because, you know, we would...
Do some people do it straight through? You do not sleep?
I think some people do, and that is great for them, but...
I love that for other people.
Could not, I think...
I'll just get tired.
We would both literally fall asleep. I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the In the Company of Witches, the next one, okay, I am halfway through this one, but Meg's recommended this to me last year?
Yeah.
I feel like you
think
read it last November.
winter. Yeah.
And as just like an atmospheric, moody, seasonal one. And I am loving it. It's, I was not a fantasy reader. I feel like until, okay, you told me to read Akhtar, and I read that, and I was like middle of that one. Didn't love it, didn't hate it,
Loved
but I was
the
like,
romance.
but loved the romance.
Yeah, like was here for the love story.
And then I feel like my other friend Lindsay suggested reading Throne of Glass, and I still cry thinking about scenes from Throne of Glass. I loved that story so much. So anyhow, that's all to say that got me more into fantasy. So now I do love fantasy as like...
Oh, we also read Tolkien together. We read all of Lord of the Rings together.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. And I loved that too.
Me too.
The Hobbit, I think, was my favorite of.
Same. I think Hobbit's probably my favorite.
Right?
I do like the second book.
I do too, and I thought the writing was excellent the whole way through,
Same.
obviously. But I feel like The Hobbit felt like an adventure the whole time.
Yeah, agreed.
And
I just love the story.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so this one, I feel like for the fantasy, I'm just loving it. I think it's so beautiful, and I love the way the land and everything is set. Like, it's how it's like described and how they bring you through the story. I just feel like it's...
And I love Catherine Arden. Like,
I've never read her before.
Oh my god. When you're done with this series, you have to read The Warm Hands of Ghosts, because that is probably my favorite book I've read this year. It's a World War I historical fantasy, and she writes it so well. Like, I had very high expectations because I know how she writes, but it's probably one of the better World War I books I've read. She talks about like the Halifax explosion. She does this like really interesting parallel between like a sister in Halifax dealing with the aftermath of the explosion and a brother in France stuck in a bunker that's collapsed with a German soldier, and they meet like a mysterious man on the field who promises oblivion. It's kind of like a little like abstract, but it's so well done. There's like a bleakness.
I feel like I was gonna say there's like a darkness in it, but it's so lyrical, and it has little bits of magic in it that are fleeting, and you're kind of trying to grasp it the whole time you're reading. And I love that about this. So I think after we do In the Company of Witches, I'll finish this one. And then we do read every kind of book. I am first and foremost a romance reader. I love romance. I always have. And so I am very much on a hockey romance kick these days. I have loved the hockey romances. So
we're Canadian.
I
can't help it. It's ingrained.
I love it.
Yep.
And so I'm reading the 4th book in this series that is just nothing more than like a delight. There is nothing else there. There is just nothing to it except you just love watching a hockey player who is tough on the outside and a marshmallow on the inside fall in love with his match off the ice.
What's the name of the first book?
I think the first one, it might be Consider Me.
Okay. I love the cover. I love the colors.
They're all like this. Like there's one that's like a bluey like this, one that's a greeny, and I think it's like Falling For Me, Consider Me. This one's Fall With Me. Ooh. So I am Consider me, play with me, unravel me,
Oh,
and now fall with me.
okay. And they each follow a different couple, I'm assuming.
So they each follow a different hockey player. There's okay, and I have to say, I do love these two because they have a chosen family element that all of the hockey players and their partners are like a family together. It's based in Vancouver.
Oh, nice.
And there is that element to it where it's like a best friend chosen family. And also they're just beautiful.
I might get into hockey romances.
10 out of 10.
Last year I got into like holiday romances, and I think this year will be my hockey romance.
I have many suggestions.
I will appreciate that. Perfect. Okay. Well, what time is it?
12:20. I could have looked at my watch, I guess. 12:20.
Oh, I think your food was delivered.
Oh,
I think I saw them.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. We will start soon. You're good. You're good. See who's like the faster and slower reader.
I'm definitely a slow reader.
Me too. I feel like I'm a slow reader as well. And I don't really care. Like, it's not... I don't think it says anything about you as a person, but I just think it's funny because I'm like... It'll be interesting to be like, I'm on page 50. I'm on page 25.
Because I feel like when we read books at the same time, I'll be like, okay, starting now. And then it takes me like the 45 minutes to get through my 20 pages. And you will be like texting halfway through it being like, okay, I'm starting now. And then you're done the same time I'm done.
I don't know. We'll see.
We're going to see.
We're going to see, won't we? It's no longer a marathon. It's a race.
24 hours. What a thrill.
All right, shall we? Is it
12:59?
Okay. Let's wait 1 minute. There's a cat and frogs on the cover. Ready?
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Mitchell and his buddies all climbing a mountain, the two of us.
Well, onward. There's a crow named Dog. What page are you on?
16.
Oh, I'm on 14. That makes sense. Yeah.
I feel like that's it because you got up to
And I have to film and stuff.
Yeah.
But there is a crow named Dog and a cat named Faustus is how I pronounce
That's
it.
how I'm saying Faustus.
And
then Oscar the dog.
An Oscar the Dog. I'm liking it so far.
I know, me too.
It's cute. It's really
cute.
fun.
It has practical magic.
It does. Yes.
Feel to it.
I've heard it being like compared to Gilmore Girls, but I feel like it's very
Oh.
practical magic.
Yeah,
But
that's how it feels so far.
a
But I like
murder,
that.
a murder has happened.
Well, we don't know if it was a murder.
That's true.
A
Sometimes people
You
just
jumped.
bleed from the head and fall to the ground.
Well, because she hit her head on the
Oh,
bathtub.
see, yeah, I don't. See, this is why we both need to be detectives.
Always jumping to the worst situation.
I'm just going off of the fact that it is the genre of a murder mystery, but
Is that what it
right.
is?
No,
A
I don't
murder
know.
mystery?
I'm just fucking with
No,
you. I mean,
actually
I'm
think-
messing with you.
You can't be swearing on the internet.
Um,
I think you are right though, aren't you? Because this was in the mystery section.
yeah, but mystery doesn't mean murder mystery. But really liking it. We are following a family that consists of 2 aunts and a young woman, and that's all we have so far. They own a B&B, bed and breakfast,
In Connecticut.
in Connecticut, and someone has died. And the mystery ensues. But I really just wanted to update and say that there's a crow named Dog.
As soon as I read that line, I was like, Megs is gonna like
And did you see me looking to see if there's a crow on the
a
cover?
crow on the cover.
Yeah, there's no crow on the cover. How dare they? Oh no! How dare they?
Yeah, not on the back either.
No, I looked as soon as I saw a crow. I was like, wait, there's no indication. Surprise crow. Fun stuff.
I wonder who this cat is.
That's Faustus. Oh, you're like, oh, that's a cat. Weird. Must be a different cat. It literally describes it as a black cat with a gray face.
Mm-hmm. So an Evenfall, which is B&B mystery. So that means that there's multiple.
I guess so.
Evenfall.
Like maybe it's the start of a series or something. I don't know. We'll see. I barely know anything about this book other than that it's a cozy mystery.
I like it.
I hope there's romance.
I was thinking that.
I'm getting the vibes already of things. So
I hope there is.
all right, cool. Back to it.
Okay.
You can put that. Laurel, what page are you on right now?
24.
Okay, well, I'm also on 24, and is the guy writing haikus the love interest?
No, that's her Uncle Gideon.
Oh. Immediately I was like, this man is writing poetry. He's the love interest. Never mind. Never mind.
I leaned over to glance at the notebook sitting on the coffee table in front of my Uncle Gideon.
You're about to discover how terrible my reading comprehension is.
Yeah, but did you love? I'm just about to highlight the one haiku. I have tasted fall. It is a warm cup of tea. Too quickly it cools.
You liked that?
I like that.
I
I'm
really
just
like
gonna
that.
highlight that.
Yeah. I feel like that's very on par with the fall that we had this year.
Yes.
It was very, very quick. All right, so
not the love
interest.
Move back.
The uncle.
Big family.
The song that's playing right now is from Pride and Prejudice.
Is it? It is Dawn from Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah. I know my shit. Like a gag joke of like how often my hair changes during this. Because I took my hair down because it was giving me a headache.
Yeah.
And I feel like eventually this is going to give me a headache. So then I'm going to take it down and it's going to change. And it'll be like, why does she keep changing her hair?
Then at the bottom you'll have little buns.
Yeah.
Try different things. So wait, did you press play?
We're vamping right now. Do you like it? This is what they do during the commercial, you know, when they're interviewing. You remember this.
This is what they do on Broadway.
Vamp. Right now the teleprompter is saying vamp.
Vamp.
Okay, so Laurel.
Thanks.
What time is it?
It's 2:30.
Okay, so we've been reading for like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
We are 104 pages in.
Mm-hmm.
We're on chapter 13.
Yep.
What do you think?
Okay.
Hold on. They don't actually teach you that in journalism school. Ask the question, then immediately interrupt and say, wait, shut up. Sorry, I want my mug to drink my coffee.
Okay.
So what are we thinking?
It still has very practical magic-y vibes. I don't get the Gilmore Girls vibes.
Me neither, other than the fact that it's like a small town and there's like a cast of characters.
And even with that, I feel like in Gilmore Girls, the other characters are built out much more, and they aren't in this.
Yes.
So far.
Yep. There was like the dance teacher.
Yes.
Who felt like Miss Patty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Roxy.
Yes.
I think had the Miss Patty feel, and then I feel like when she's walking down the main street and she sees all the different businesses like that, I think, and it might still get built out more. I just feel like, to me, Gilmore Girls is like, yes, the cast of characters, but also that strong like mother-daughter friendship vibe.
Yes.
And the aunts and hers, it feels more practical magic-y to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I feel like it feels a little heavy-handed. It feels a little silly.
It's a little on the nose.
It feels a little silly in some parts.
We were talking, and I didn't film, about how the dialogue is very heavy-handed. It reads almost juvenile at times, where people are like, I was sad when you said that.
Yeah.
You are my sister and I will always protect you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, don't think people talk like that in their day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't understand the one aunt. I think it's Izzy.
Mm.
The one that's like insane.
Nora.
Nora,
yeah.
She's like wild.
She's wild. She's a force. But I guess that's the thing, is that she's meant to have, like, nature is meant to be her magic. So I wonder if part of that is like, she is very literally wild.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like they're trying to make her like a comedic relief, but it's not reading as funny.
Well, no, especially since she's the one that's pinned for murder.
Mhm. Pinned for murder. She's the suspect. We also just ended on like a bit of a cliffhanger where the main character has told her aunts that she no longer wants to practice magic. I feel like the mystery element of like her past and what happened to her husband is interesting. Like we're dealing with grief, but I'm not convinced that it's going to necessarily be a good be a good exploration of it, because I do feel like the dialogue is a little, like, I feel like we're going to really explore it, but it's going to be like a child.
Grief is something that we all deal with and we move through. Yeah.
So far so good. I'm
still cozy.
Mm-hmm.
Still magic-y. I'm still into it.
Oh yeah, I'll fly through it happily.
Mm-hmm. It is wild that we are a third of the way through.
We're both quite sleepy. There may be a nap.
I almost fell asleep.
I don't think I've ever had coffee this late in the day. So we're trying. We're trying our best.
We're gonna do it.
All right, shall we? Another 100 pages?
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's do this. Okay, hi, update time. I'm just over halfway. You took a little break because we're making a soup.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you?
143.
Okay, I'm at 152. So we have thoughts. I have thoughts.
Okay, you had a strong thought.
I have a thought about one thing I don't like about this book, and I think it's manifesting itself in something that I can be a little bit more specific about, which is a lot of this book, and okay, I'm going to preface this and say that with mysteries, because I do read mysteries every once in a while, there is a lot more telling in mysteries than showing. Like, it is a genre where people give information by way of dialogue. That's a very common thing. You know, someone is walking around and they're talking to people and people are revealing information.
Right.
That is a very common trope. I love Veronica Speedwell. That happens in that book. You expect it. That's what's kind of happening in this, but we were already saying that the dialogue's a little juvenile. But what is happening right now is that there's a side story that's happening with her aunt where her one aunt is saying that her kind of meaner aunt is really a secret cinnamon roll who is scared about ending up alone. And our main character, whose name I'm blanking on, Bryn. Our main character, Bryn, her reaction to that was, what are you talking about? Like, she's actually really nice and really sweet. She's always been there for me.
Do you need to go outside?
My issue with this is that her reaction to her aunt being like, she doesn't want to end up alone, was, she'll never end up alone. She's so sweet. She's like lovely and like she's not that bad. But now she's talking to people in the town who are like, oh, like, say hi to your aunt for me. She's a lovely human being. And her reaction is, what?
You thought that?
She has friends?
Yeah. I didn't know she spoke to anybody. Where you're like, well, I feel like you can have both.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think it's a lot of just accepting.
It's fine. Do you have any other thoughts?
No, I feel that way.
No thoughts.
I feel like it's a lot of accepting.
Yeah, no thoughts. Just let's keep going. How are you feeling spiritually, physically, mentally?
I mean, okay, so mentally
about the challenge.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you meant about this book. I
But
was like,
what were you, you're
I
like,
was trying to come up with something.
You're like, okay, so I've already said I don't have anything to add.
I can come up with something. Great. I feel like it's flying by in both senses. I feel like it's already 4, which feels wild that we've done this for 3 hours. So that does feel like it's going quite quickly. We did pause to do a bit of soup, but I can't believe it's already been 3 hours. And it does feel wild that we're like halfway through.
Yeah, like we're gonna finish a book in like maybe an hour.
I feel like we're probably gonna finish for dinner.
Yep.
And then we'll have our soup on to our second one. And I am excited for both of us to move on to
the books that are good. I try really hard.
Well, I was just gonna say the books we chose, but I guess we did choose this.
We did. I did. It's not that bad. I've read worse books.
Oh my gosh,
say that.
yes.
Yeah. It's just
Oh my gosh, yes. I think I thought the writing of this was going to be a different style of writing.
Oh wow, she lives in rural Ottawa with her husband, 3 children, and 1 rescue cat.
Oh.
Ottawa. We love Ottawa. Ottawa's the best city in the whole wide world. That's a controversial take, but I like Ottawa.
I love Ottawa.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm one of 30 people who loves Ottawa.
Yeah, same. I'm number 2.
You're number 2.
Yeah.
My sister, number 3.
Yeah. Tom, number 4.
We're related to all 30 of them.
Yeah, okay. This is good. We'll just keep going. And then we'll read our other books.
And then we'll read our other books.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be such a good one for the evening.
It will. With the fire.
Yeah.
Because we're going to light the fire.
That's what I'm thinking.
Ooh. Do you have tea?
Mm-hmm.
Tea.
Tons of tea.
Tons.
We do.
Your tea shop.
And we have little bits of chocolate for you. But also, we're going to do our pumpkin dessert.
It's going to be good.
I'm so excited.
This is the best sleepover ever.
Slumber party! Okay, I have to go and get my dog back.
Hey, Laurel.
Yeah.
You know what I hate?
What?
That I don't even care enough to guess anything. I had a vision of us reading this book and trying to figure out the mystery and being like, maybe it's this person, and what do you think this clue means? I am on page 265. There are 315 pages in this book. And I don't care.
I feel like I'm on page... Hey! I'm on page 225.
Mm-hmm.
Her aunts just got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care.
I care not.
I think I mean, we know who it is.
I feel like we know who it is.
And now we're just like waiting for them to tell us.
But I'm also like, even if it's not that person, because sometimes they'll have like a last minute twist where they're like, oh, a redirection.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
No. I'm ready to just wrap this one up.
Ready to just call this one done,
Yeah.
you know?
And
Yeah.
move on to the next.
Yeah.
So I
Big
was
thing.
just looking. I think dinner's in like 30 minutes. And I'm like, okay, let's just...
Finish that off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I can... Oh, okay, back to it. We're going back. I started having another conversation, but you don't need to hear this. Oh, you bear. What do you think of girls' night?
You like it?
Do you like the reading? She's like, there's significantly less playing than I want.
If it's a girls' night for me, we play more.
Oh, sweet girl. She's too far away. I can only get her snout.
She's like, keep scratching my chest.
Oh. What do you have? Oh, the letter? I know. I had a moment at the very beginning where I was like, what are your thoughts on it?
I just like that.
You liked it?
Okay, well, I'm not quite done yet, but the Benjamin part.
Okay, that's true. That's true. The ending was nice. It was the beginning where he was like, "Son, you're an asshole."
Yeah, that was tough. The son, you're an asshole part. But you know what? There's also a part of me where I'm like, yeah, he's right. His son is a dick.
No, this is true. This is true.
And I loved the part about like the other son, John, where it was like,
yeah, that was cute. I liked that.
And then even Mary, it's like, I want to protect you and I can't. So the thing I'm going to do is like give you something safe for when you leave him. I feel like it's like, what was that?
I'm at a really intense part, which I think is funny too, because it's like, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Did you just find out?
But like, how did she get that from the letter?
I just finished. I have some thoughts when you're ready. Hold on, I need to look to see, because I also had that question. I'll be back to discuss.
The last chapter was just very beautiful to me, and I feel like, so that's why like right now I'm like, oh my gosh, in the middle of this, and I feel like I'm also a very kind writer on Goodreads. I feel like I hardly rate anything like a 1 or 2. I feel like I would give this like a solid 3 throughout, just because I'm like, I didn't.
Yep, I think that's fair.
But I just felt like that last chapter like
was really good. Yeah. I also really liked the last chapter. I liked the first chapter and I liked the last chapter in terms of like the writing, and I also do think that the theme of grief is really well done. All the parts of this book that were about grief, I liked. Kind of. Like, I didn't like her I think my issue is I didn't love her interactions with her aunts. And so that ultimately led me to like not really care about any of the other characters. But I agree, like the last chapter was really good. Yeah. I was kind of tearing up. Yeah. And I think that part made me feel like, oh, I can see that this book could have been better, and that leads me to more disappointment.
Because I feel like, yeah, I agree. Yeah. Because I just feel like the theme was there, and even the story, how involved all of the other family members were. And it does leave me, because I feel like the writing is there at the beginning and the end. And maybe it just feels like the book was a little long.
Yes. Which is crazy because it's pretty short, but I'm also like, this didn't need to be as... It also kind of reads like the first book in a series.
It is.
I know, yeah, there's another one already out, I think.
I almost bought it.
Like, immediately,
when I bought this.
As soon as you finished reading, you were like, I need to pick up the second one.
No.
And went on.
No. Like, when I bought this one, I saw there was another one, and I was like, oh, I bet this is a series. Maybe I should get the second one. Then I was like, maybe you should see how the first one goes.
I understand. I understand the urge. Yeah, I think I would... Is it weird to say that I would read the second one, though?
No, I don't think it's weird, because I'm curious if they would go, if it would be like Nora's story instead of Bryn's. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder, because it says it's like of the involved, which is B&B. So I feel like it has to be somebody. So I feel like maybe it's Gideon's.
It was interesting. I don't know. I have more specific thoughts that I don't want to get into, but it was good. We're done.
First one. Cheers.
Now we're gonna eat.
Yeah.
Or have potato soup. Maybe take a mini break and watch like a YouTube video or two. And then we'll get back to it.
Yep. Make the fire. Get tucked in the other room.
We are about to get so cozy.
As opposed to this?
As opposed to what we are right now, which is not cozy. We've not been cozy at all. All right, let's do it. At least we've kept it warm. We've warmed it.
We warmed it for the last 2 hours. Which is nice.
But I've got all the smiles that I need. They say get famous, so everyone will know me. But that sounds like a movie I don't want to see. They say get smart, so I can solve any problem, as if they'll all go away. They say go hard, but I'm a softie deep inside, and I don't feel like hiding anymore.
Do you want
It
some
may
sour
be
cream?
nice,
How much?
but I'd rather be kind and be there for those who are in need.
Oh,
Say you
that's
gotta think twice.
She's part of
We
the
should
vibes.
think a little more about how we treat the world that we call home. They say settle down, but I ain't one for settling, so I'll just keep
Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
What are you doing next? You're doing The Bear and the Nightingale.
Second half of Fairy Tale.
I feel like for the sake of honesty, we did just take like what? Like an would you say it was an hour? I feel like an hour probably. 45 minutes to an hour. We ate dinner. But we're back to it now.
joy that's overflowing. They say don't give it away, but I'll do it anyway. They say get real, but when the truth isn't valued, no one really knows how to feel. That's how it is, and that's how it's always been. But what about how it could be? Enough is enough. There's new voices talking, and those are the ones that I want to hear. And they say too much, but I know who I am, so I don't listen to them anymore.
Something and then I was like, I feel like I need to get this on camera because I'm now passing the point of delirium. So this isn't a spoiler. This happens like in the first few pages. And they bring these 3 women to the square and they're like, these women are witches. Does everyone agree? And then they're like, yeah, they're witches. So they've been sentenced to death. So they cut them to bleed into a bowl. And then they take the blood from the bowl. Hold on, let me back up a second. Before they cut them, they're like, all right, you've been sentenced to be stoned to death. So you're like, okay, so these women are going to be stoned to death. Chill. Then they cut them and then they bleed them into a bowl. And then they draw runes on their face with the blood to bar them from entering the afterlife. I'm like,
Do you think you've done enough?
like, honestly, I think we've done enough. I think, like, one of these 3 things would have maybe
I
been
feel like-
enough.
Choose one of the 3.
One of you can,
Stone them, bleed into a bowl, or you cannot go to the afterlife.
like, pick from a hat next
Right,
time.
right.
You know?
It feels like 3 people couldn't decide, and it's like, fine, we'll do each.
Yes.
We each get one.
Like, it's like just insult to injury. Like, they can't enter Ursur's sacred forest in the afterlife because a runic symbol is on their face in their own blood. There's a dog tail on the shot.
Oh no.
I like it.
Teddy, watch out.
No, Teddy, do it. Yes, that was a good girl. You
Yeah,
were
you said my name?
Oh my I don't even know if I'm in the shot. I think I am. So I just discovered something horrific, and that is that, how long have we been reading?
2.5 hours.
We've been reading for 2.5 hours. It's almost 10, and I've read 38 pages.
I mean, you were really reading them. And there were words in it that you had to look to the glossary for.
Mm-hmm. And we are, like, at the beginning of a fantasy book, so
Mhm.
there's a lot of action,
And I feel like it needs to seep in.
but I'm very, very sleepy.
Yeah.
So I think I'm call it. How are you doing?
I have 40 pages left.
You have 40 pages left?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn. You want to finish it tonight, don't you?
There's a part of me. But I might also just let the embers go for another minute, and I might just read until I fall asleep in bed, because then I probably won't finish it, because I'll probably read like 4 pages and then just zonk out.
My book is falling apart because I can't hold it. Okay, hold on though. First impressions. Let me not move this while I talk. I don't even know if I'm in the shot. I hope I am. I don't know. If
I'm gonna laugh so hard when you're in it and you're.
This is how I'll do my update. I like it so far. I don't know if I am in love with the way that it's written necessarily, or this is gonna sound harsh, but remember I'm only like 38 pages in. But I find that the voice of the character is a little bit tricky to get used to. Once again, it's like another book that is reading a little bit more juvenile, despite the fact that it is incredibly violent. Within like the first 10 pages, we had multiple very, very extremely violent things happen. And I feel like that's just like a Viking thing.
I feel like probably, but that is kind of wild that it's happening so quickly, eh?
Yeah, it's a Viking thing. You don't understand. But I'm into it. Like, it's easy enough. I think that's the other thing. Even though I barely read.
But I feel like, could you imagine if it was the Dragon Book?
No, I think that book was a good call not to start it, because I think that book will be a little bit trickier. I think it's a little bit more high fantasy than this.
That might be a train book.
Yeah, that might be a train book.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say yes. Anybody who comes to my dad doesn't care because I don't know and I think it's
I know it does it, and I forget every single time.
it's so annoying because I feel like it's a slight word.
Yeah.
It's a feminine.
It's delicate. Yeah, and I made.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
It was really good, eh?
It was so good. It was so good, and I'm so excited for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like, okay, this is what I love in a series, is like when the story from the first book is wrapped up,
Mm-hmm.
but you're off on like the next adventure already.
Mm-hmm.
And also the romance has just started.
Hmm.
And I'm excited for that.
I feel like they are the best books to read in the winter time.
Yeah.
I read them in January, I think. Not this January, but I think I read them in a January during like a snowstorm.
That's what I think I'm going to do. I feel like I'm going to wait and read the second one next month when we actually have snow.
Sounds perfect.
Halfway through it fully was like, I didn't even see her hit the button.
I was just talking at the camera for 5 minutes, holding it up, and I didn't film any of it. I did a really good update.
I think that means that we need to go get a coffee.
I think it means it's time for Starbucks. The too long don't read version of what I just said is that I am reading at a much faster pace.
Yep.
We got the footage of Laurel finishing her book, which is great. I'm glad that I'm capturing some of this. But I'm on page 67, and that's like double what I read yesterday in 2 hours.
Oh my gosh,
And we've barely, like, I feel like we've read for like under an hour. And basically what I was saying is that I do really like this book. It's still very much in the introduction phase of it. I'm only just being introduced to characters that I think are going to be really important. Pause for dog itchies. My favorite thing in the world is when I'm like talking and I can hear my cat scratching in the background. What did I even say? What have I said?
You said it was good, and then you were saying that sometimes in fantasy, that when there's language from present day,
Oh,
it
yes.
pulls you outside of it.
Right. Okay. One of the funny things that I called out, and I think I'm thinking about this as a writer, not a reader, because as a writer who writes historical fantasy, I catch myself doing this all the time. And I think it's really funny. There's a moment in this book where they're introducing who I think is going to be a main character. And they say something along the lines of his trademark glare.
And I was laughing with Laurel where I was like, I don't think that they have trademarks in like a Viking historical world. I don't think they did. I don't think they're trademarking things. But I do that all the time. And I just think it's funny. And I love when I catch it in other writing. Anyway, we're going to go to Starbucks now and I'm going to keep reading. And I'm liking it. But it's too early to really talk about it in any capacity because we're just vibing. It was better before. This update was better before. Oh, wait. One more thing that I said was that we might get to 1 p.m. and I might just want to keep reading. We'll see. Because I am kind of determined to finish this book, but I don't know if I'll be able to. Okay, so I am on page 81 and I realized that I don't think I've talked about what this book is actually about or like what's happening, but basically we are following a young woman by the name of Seela I think that's how you pronounce her name, whose father was murdered. And through that murder, some things were revealed. And before he died, he forced her to promise to get to this town and follow this place called the Road of Bones. And so far that's kind of all that has been happening, is like her starting that journey. And on top of that, we've been introduced to a couple of other characters. One is a woman who is incredibly mysterious. She works for the Queen and she's been told to go after a young woman who sounds, description-wise, like our main character, Seela. More recently, we've just been introduced to a band of mercenaries, basically, called the Blood Axe Crew. And there's a lot of like fun banter there. I feel like it's very traditional, tropey fantasy where, you know, we've got like a kind of band of ruffians who are likely ride or die for one another. They've been hired to go to this town where mysterious things are happening. Livestock are disappearing, farmers are disappearing, and there's a mist that is growing, and that mist has a heartbeat. So they've been hired to do that, and there are two characters I think that are probably the most important. One is Jonas, and the other is the leader of this crew, who is called Ray, but he also goes by the name Axe Eyes, which I think is really funny. Axe Eyes. I think I just ended the chapter with them meeting up with our main character, which isn't a spoiler. That's like in the description. So basically we've gotten through the setup of this book. I think that if you like romantasy specifically, maybe not necessarily just straight fantasy, you'll like this. I feel inclined to keep reading, which I think is always a good thing. So, especially because I am like 81 pages in. So I'm going to keep going. We're going to go for a walk and we'll see.
Just sitting here with my little popcorn.
I do. That's why you're the center. You're the star. You ready for your close-up? Oh, shit. Oh, okay, we're good. I was like, there's no way I'm on page 259. I'm on page 85.
I was like, wow, you were flying this morning. Oh, she also has curls. I'm not understanding you and your childish desire to win. I toss my curls over my shoulder.
Like this? We're reading.
I forgot you were filming.
We're reading basically the same book. Mine just has more words in it. You know? That's what we've determined. Mine has more like fake words in it. Mm-hmm. Yours has less fake words. Mm-hmm. But they're fundamentally the same. Mm-hmm. You know?
Mine has a 6'4" hockey player.
Mine have mine have two Vikings.
Hour 21.
I have two Vikings. One is blonde, one is brunette. I wonder who she's gonna end up with.
Who would you choose?
Well, I've got nothing on the brunette-haired man just yet, other than his trademark glare. So he does
have the wherewithal to trademark things in a historical Viking era.
So you're saying he's intelligent.
So he's intelligent.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
And, you know, we know too much about... You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, we know too much about the blonde guy for him to be endgame. Like, we know his whole backstory, his whole motivation.
So she's a brunette person.
So, you know how it is going to be.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
I will say... And I wonder if you have thoughts on this, but, like, justice for blonde men in books. Like, I like a blonde love interest. That's, like, a very real thing in fantasy or, like, romance, where it's, like, jokingly, if the guy's blonde, he's not endgame.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I like the blondies.
I do, too.
Yeah.
I don't discriminate.
Yeah, that's true. This is true. So anyway, justice for blonde male characters. They matter.
But if you're going to be 6'4" with brown hair and hazel eyes...
6'4" is egregiously tall. I mean,
She's
not
five-
really.
She's 5'3".
She's 5'3" and he's 6'4".
Yes, but that's the whole hockey player. They all are with
Tiny little.
fiery.
Yeah.
Put them in their place.
Yeah.
I would love it.
6'4", 5'3". Into it.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, I sure hope they end up together. We finished, and I did the thing again where we had a whole outro.
Mm-hmm.
We wrapped up. We discussed things.
Yeah.
We said really, really great stuff.
That's
Trust.
nice. Yeah.
But I wasn't filming.
We wanted to do it again. We loved our experience so much. We wanted to talk about it for a second time.
It was a rehearsal.
Yes.
It was a rehearsal. Okay, update. It's after 1 now. It's long out. It's like 1:07 now because we talked for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I looked and was like, it's not filming. We are not being filmed right now. I know what I'm doing. I swear I don't do this. I did not read as much as I wanted to, I feel like, because I was really, really tired last night.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to page 142 of this book.
That's pretty good though.
I'm happy with it because, you know, starting a fantasy that is easier to read, like I said, but it is still a fantasy. You're still like dropping into a world, and you kind of have to like navigate around it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work. What I was saying is that this book is setting up a love triangle, and I don't really like the first guy. Like, I know that the other guy is going to be endgame.
Mm-hmm.
I know Golden Hair Boy is not endgame. I know way too much about that man. They are flirting way too heavily. He's not endgame, and I kind of just want to move on from what I know is going to be a drawn-out romance with...
See, this is like my thing is when we originally said this, I was thinking of Akhtar.
Yeah.
But then I feel like this is how I felt when I read Throne of Glass.
Yep.
Because I loved, very deeply unpopular opinion apparently, but I loved Kale. I loved him at the beginning. I really loved the two of them together in like book 1.
Sound out on the comments on why she's wrong. Just kidding. You're my biggest controversy.
This is why I don't do these things. But I feel like I really loved him, but then it's also, I do feel like, at least for me, I'm reading, I just fall very, like, if the author tells me to really love this person, I fall very easily for the person they're telling me to love in that moment.
Yep, I think
you
that's
know,
fair.
so like, I loved Kale, and then when he ended up with his wife, I was like, oh my gosh, she is the best person for him.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like, each individual, like, each couple.
Yep. And I will say that I don't not like Golden Hair Boy. I was saying before that the
guy who I know is going to be endgame.
You're kind of like, let's just fall in love with that romance
He's
instead.
he's a really good character.
Yeah.
He's the best character.
He's your favorite character of all time.
Yeah, I said he's my favorite character, and then I didn't clarify that it wasn't of all time. It's just in this book specifically.
No, all time.
He beats Pierre from War and Peace. Beats Ponyboy, best character of all time right
All
here.
time.
142 pages
In the Road of Bones.
No, he's just the most interesting character, and I like being in his mind, and I like his thoughts, and I'm very, very intrigued by him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that that's the hardest part, is I'm like, I know everything about Golden Hair Boy, and I'm like, okay, cool. I still will read it, and I'm
Yes.
still gonna, I'll probably pick up the second one depending on how this one goes, because it definitely is a comfort read. So that's my update. We are gonna keep reading because we're having a great time.
Yes. And we also both ended with our comfort reads.
Yes, we did. We had our comfort
So I feel
reads.
like that's why we want to keep reading now.
And then you were telling the people, but you weren't because I wasn't recording, about how you felt about your first readathon.
I loved it. I did feel like it was long in the sense that is a very concentrated effort.
Mm-hmm. And we've had to redo a lot of filming.
No. No, it's just a very concentrated effort, but I do love it. And I did love it. But I felt like you did need breaks. Like we took a little break for dinner
Mm-hmm.
and we went on a walk this morning, and I do feel like probably having those little breaks is helpful. And then I also feel like I thought originally, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have all kinds of books picked out. I had just kind of picked out the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And at least for me, with how slowly I read, or just the pace at which I read, I feel like 2 to 3 is right, because I don't think I would have finished. I don't think I would be on my 3rd book if I hadn't already been halfway through the 2nd book that I read.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'd probably be just finishing that 2nd book because it was a smaller book than this.
Yeah.
But that said, I am happy, and I do feel like probably when we do this again, I would do my first one is like not a tougher book, but I would probably still choose the 2nd book to be a comfort read.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I do feel like it's fun ending with the 6'4"
5'3",
grouchy hockey player who's falling in love with a 5'3" photographer.
and so I'm assuming they met already. And...
They've met and they were together for an evening, and then now they didn't know it, but she is the photographer, the team photographer. So she's just moved to Vancouver. She's the team photographer.
You know what?
And they're just ignoring each other, but desperate for the other one not to ignore them, but upset that they're both in this situation. And I wonder if they're going to fall in love.
I like that Laurel is reading smut and can only say they were together for an evening. And they were together for an evening, probably playing checkers.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
They had a drink at a bar.
All right. Good stuff. It's still filming. I didn't fuck up this time.
I can see us on the TV in the back.
We're still filming. That should have been the first clue. We had fun. Hey Laurel.
Yeah.
What time is it?
7:30.
And what have we done all day?
Read.
What are we gonna do right now? I can't wait to calculate how many hours we've actually been reading
Sick,
for.
but I'm so happy.